ready? We are
Where's
set?
the
Orbit.
Welcome. Then we can start with the introduction.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome to the commission. We'll start with the introductions as usual. And I will start from the far end. There's a colleague sitting there. Please give us your name and the media organization where you're coming from.
My name is Kaka Ebe. I'm from Sada TV. My name is George from Zenis.
Pardon?
From
From which media? Zanis. Okay. Thank you.
Live from TV.
Geneva, Kenya. Martha Zerembesi.
Patrick,
Then I'll go to the band and then I'll come back.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Best Jerry from Management.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Miriam Denga from Kenya TV.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Then we'll come to the middle.
Good morning, I'm Freddy from ADA TV.
Good morning. I'm Stella from Royal TV.
Madam, I'm Charlie from Awareness.
Princess from TV.
Good morning, I'm Thomas from KBA.
Then
And I'm Fiona from Bangladesh.
Joseph Kalova from ZTV.
Rupert Sandra from Zanis.
Yamba from Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Raphael from ECZ.
okay, I'll give an opportunity for CPCZ staff to just say hello to you, the ones that are seated there. They'll introduce themselves and they will say hello to you as well.
Morning everyone, my name is Bob Musena.
This is
Morning, Dylan Kasonde from ECZ.
And I'll also ask our sign language interpreter to also introduce himself.
Good morning, I'm Obed Nambu, Serengeti Interpret.
Is there anyone who has not introduced themselves? I can see our colleague who is mostly. Okay. And yourself?
I'm Mayor Francis from AA News.
And there's another one hiding right at the back there.
My name is Francina from
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sure you, by now, you all know the Chief Electoral Officer, Electoral Commission of Zambia, Mr. Kiko Shikano, but I shouldn't take it for granted. There could be maybe one or two who are coming here for the first time. So I'll hand over to the CEO. Or do you want me to introduce myself as well? It's always the case that you introduce others and then you forget yourself. My name is Sylvia Wadia. I'm acting public relations manager here at the commission. I'll now hand over to the Chief Electoral Officer to address or to give the group.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to have you around, colleagues. I hope my colleague, our sign language interpreter, is within view for those on camera. Is his position okay? Or does he need to move closer? It's okay. Great. Okay, so allow me to start. Media personnel, staff of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Commission, I wish to welcome you all to this briefing and indeed to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commission remains committed to ensuring that we continuously provide updates on the progress of activities on our electoral calendar leading up to the 2021 general elections. And we'll continue doing that on a regular basis. As you are aware, the Commission is currently conducting the voter registration exercise and is now in the fourth and final phase of the exercise, which commenced on 9th November 2020 and is scheduled to end on 12th December 2020. Therefore, the purpose of this briefing is to update you on the progress that the Commission has made from the last update, which was given last week. The third phase of the voter registration exercise was completed on Wednesday, 2nd December 2020. Like I've alluded to, we are now in the fourth phase of the exercise, which started yesterday and is scheduled to last for the next 9 days, from today till the 12th of December 2020. The Commission remains elated and applauds all citizens who have turned up in numbers to register as voters at the registration centers across the country. The Commission would also like to reassure all citizens and indeed voters that the Commission will ensure that all eligible citizens who are present or who present themselves to register as voters are captured and no one will be left behind as the exercise comes to a close. The Commission is therefore appealing to all eligible Zambians who are yet to register as voters not to get discouraged, but to ensure that they visit the nearest registration centers to register and obtain their voters' card. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to also reiterate that during the last phase of the voter registration exercise, the Commission will be registering persons in lawful custody as earlier announced. Currently, the Commission is undertaking orientation of the Zambia Correctional Facilities staff on the voter registration exercise. Voter registration for persons in lawful custody will be conducted next week from the 9th to 11th December 2020. Allow me to repeat that. Voter registration for persons in lawful custody will be conducted next week from the 9th to 11th December 2020. For purposes of registration, inmates will be registered under the existing polling districts where the correctional facility is located. Again, for purposes of registration, inmates will be registered under the existing polling districts where the correctional facility is located. Allow me to just quickly mention the correctional facilities that will be serviced. In Muchinga, we have Mpika, Lubambalala, Chinsali, and the Isoka correctional facilities. In Northwestern, we have Solwezi, Kasempa, Kabompo, Mufumbwe, Zambezi, and Mwinilunga correctional facilities. In Northern, we have Kasama, Mbala, Borokoso, Luwingu, Milima Female Correctional Facilities. In Wapula, we have Mansa, Kawambwa, Samfya, Chelenge, and Mwense correctional facilities. In southern, we have Livingston, Katombola, Katombola, that's correct, Kalomo, Choma, Namwala, and Monze correctional facilities, including Mazabuka correctional facilities. In Central Province, we have the Kawe Maximum Correctional Facility, Kawe Medium, Kawe Female, Mpima, Kalonga Farm, Mumbwa, Kitumba, Mukuyu Ranch, Mukushi, Nansanga, and Serenje Correctional Facilities. In Lusaka, we have Mwembeshi Maximum, Mwembeshi Farm, Lusaka Central, Kamwala, and Chainama East. On the Copper Belt, we have Kamfisa Male, Kamfisa Female, Chingola, Mufulira, Wansha, Kansenji, Ndola Remand, Chondwe Farm, and Chitwi Farm. East, we have Chipata Male, Chipata Female, Lundazi, Petauke, Katete, Nyimba, and Chadiza Correctional Facilities. In Western, we have Sesheke, Senanga, Mongu, Kalabo, Kaoma, and Nyango Correctional Facilities. So those are correctional facilities that will be serviced under the voter registration exercise. Let me now also take this opportunity to state that the Commission continues to make tremendous progress in terms of registering voters, and the following cumulative statistics have been recorded in the past 3 phases of the voter registration exercise. So these are the cumulative statistics for the 3 phases of the exercise. Phase 1, as was earlier communicated, the Commission registered 1,106,000 voters. In Phase 2, the Commission registered 1,598,426 million voters. In Phase 3, which is the current phase we are reporting on, the Commission has recorded 1,616,893 voters. That is 1,616,893 million voters, bringing our total to 4,321,319 total currently registered. That is for the first, second, and third phase. That's for 3 phases. The total is 4,321,319. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, allow me also to call upon the members of the public and all stakeholders to desist from conducting any illegal acts and report anyone found attempting to perform any illegality to the Commission or indeed the nearest police station. My appeal comes in the wake of an image that has been circulating on social media of an underage person alleged to have been registered as a voter, in addition to another picture as well of a multiple registration. Let me reiterate, as a Commission, that the Commission has a very thorough screening process, both automated and manual, and in the unlikely event that one actually did register illegally, the system will certainly detect and perpetrators will be prosecuted. As I address you colleagues of the media, we already have individuals that have been arrested in some of these instances. For security reasons, I'll not divulge that. But be rest assured that you will be found out if you're doing anything illegal, and encourage you to stop doing such vices. The requirements for one to register are very clear, ladies and gentlemen. As a voter, that one must be a Zambian citizen. of 18 years and above and in possession of a green national registration card. And anyone who does not meet these requirements and attempts to register as a voter commits an offense which is liable to prosecution, and the Commission will not hesitate but to prosecute such a one. Therefore, members of the public are implored to refrain from such acts. As I conclude, let me take this opportunity to also thank most sincerely the staff of the Commission, especially the field officers across the country, for the diligent work they are doing. Most of them are working long hours with minimal rest, if any. And allow me to speak to them at this point in time. The Commission recognizes your effort, and I'm pleased to inform you that in addition to ensuring a conducive working environment, field officers shall be paid commuted overtime. The Commission shall further reward the high performers at the end of the exercise. Your dedication to national duty is most admirable, and we thank you. Finally, I'd like to commend and appeal to all those that have registered as voters to encourage their family members and others to register as they vote in the 2021 general elections and beyond 2021. With these few words, I thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, CEO. At this point, we will invite questions or clarifications. I'll take 3 at a go. Please tell us your name and the organization you are coming from. Then you ask your question. I can see that we have a few people that just walked in. So as you ask your questions, please introduce yourselves. So I'll take the first 3.
No questions.
Okay.
Nancy Siame from Zambia Daily Mail. You talked of some people being arrested and you couldn't go in detail. Maybe you could just tell us the number without going into detail of those arrested.
Okay, I'll take another 2.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Where are we? Okay, so I'll take him and then I'll take you.
I'm Senior Derek. Apologies for coming. I don't know what's the position of the Commission or the electoral body now that we are far from meeting our 9 million initial target. Isn't it prudent for you? I know there's a lot of wisdom here at this institution. For us to have an extension, because since we are our parents and citizens look up to you, it will be good for you to just bend backwards more as a parent and extend so that we can have all registered voters being.
Thank you for that question. Or you had a similar question, then I'll pick another person.
Good morning, my name is Leila. Can you share with us how you're doing finances?
Here's my finance team.
Finance. Okay, for now.
There's a question behind that.
Okay, please go ahead.
Maybe it will just be an addition to what my colleague asked in the arrest. Mine basically is to find out regards to that which that I don't buy with there are some people that have been arrested, maybe officers not like that particular center. And maybe give us an updated just an update as regards to investigations on that particular center.
Okay. I think we have enough questions for now. I'll allow. Did you have another question?
Yes. We know that there's some restriction in kids that were stolen on the cover belts. Have any replacement been made?
Okay. I will allow the CEO to respond.
Thank you so much. Number of those arrested, we have 2 so far that are in custody. The nature of the arrest is due to multiple registration. Nothing more. Okay. Issues to do with extension. Currently, we have that aspect of extension is not on the table. When we conclude the exercise, the Commission will be able to advise accordingly. But as it stands, the voter registration exercise ends on 12th December 2021. The Commission will review at that particular point in time based on the statistics that we would have captured and will advise the nation accordingly. But the Commission, of course, as we've always reiterated, we look at the environment, we look at what needs to be done, and be rest assured that whatever action the Commission is going to take will be in the best interest of the nation and will take into consideration all factors that need to be taken into account. So that extension will only be considered at the end. For now, it is not on the table, and it closes on 12th December 2021. Those that need to register, please go and do so. In terms of finances, I need to have my numbers. Oh, sorry, I said 12th December 2021. 12th December 2020. Apologies for that. I was giving a whole year for registration. No, it ends on 12th December 2020. In terms of the budget, currently we've been funded to a tune of 527 million. With a balance of 147, this is on the initial budget of 674. Initial budget of 674, but of course we have submitted also supplementary budget in view of the additional staff that we've had to employ to beef up the polling stations across the country. So currently we should be having an additional, is that the total?
Additional.
Okay. So the supplementary budget, we have an additional 250 million. So in terms of what is yet to be funded is 147 million plus 250 million. So that is yet to be funded. So currently, we have been funded to a tune of 527 million kwacha. Hope that clarifies. Stolen kits, that has been replaced. It was just the printer. And I know I did get concerns that the printer has been stolen. Maybe people are making cards somewhere. No, a printer is just like any other printer, even I'm sure the ones you have in your offices. Of course, it's configured to our settings, but one cannot do anything apart from just printing whatever they want to print. We have unique security features and software that the Commission uses. But also in the event that the entire kit was stolen, to be immediately decommissioned. So you have nothing to worry, even if one went and did what they need to do. But they wouldn't even have access to it. It's a very encrypted and secured system. So no need to worry about it. But the answer is yes, it's been replaced. Anyone arrested in that picture? No, no one has been arrested, but what I can tell you that definitely that picture is not authentic. We did subject it to what do you call it with experts? Scrutiny of the picture in terms of authenticity, and it's not an authentic picture. But of course, for us as a commission, like I said, we don't take things lightly. even when these are meant for social media and certain instances to undermine the credibility of the process, we ensure that we investigate every issue, and we will ensure that we arrest that. But like I said, even in the unlikely event that one, for example, did multiple registration, or the officer decided to throw away their ethics and registered for one reason or the other a young person, we have a very robust screening process as a commission. And we've always mentioned to you colleagues that voter registration is not the only process in the electoral cycle. This is why we even now, when we talk about the timelines, part of the process after this is a cleanup process. First there's a compilation process, then there's a deduplication process, then there's a cleanup process. And these processes are both automated and manual. And at the end of the register, you will find that a lot of those attempts and scrupulous people would have dropped off. And it's extremely robust. And of course, it will be subjected to verification. So even those that are attempting to do that, please stop it. You are wasting your time, but you also just present yourself for prosecution. But you are wasting material. For example, those that do multiple registration. You are wasting resource which could be used by others, but you're also taking up precious time for those that are genuinely lining up, and then you go and queue up as well, making the queues long and frustrating the process. So please just stop it, do what you need to do as a citizen, register, and once you're done, that's it. Nothing will go unnoticed.
But looking at its nature, that the minor was paraded in front of the cameras, and then the setup of the registration center where we have officers and commissioners, what have you done to those people that allowed that situation to take place?
Okay, firstly, in terms of ascertaining which center that is, we can only do that once the kids come in, because the kids are serial, and we know that we're able to detect, we're able to tell where that is. But of course, in terms of knowing where it is emanating from, at this point in time, we haven't verified where that has emanated from. And definitely, if one was in the picture, I'm sure that's why they didn't even include the officer in there. If we would have been able to identify them immediately, and they will not be relieved immediately. So you get all these staging and so on. But the bottom line that needs to be taken away from this point in time is that the system is secure and robust. Even in the likelihood that an officer decided to go against what has been prescribed for them, and most of them, if any, I believe and strongly know that they're very ethical. I'm sure you have received a number of reports of people being turned away because they're young. So it's not just the fact of you having an ID, an NRC, and then you think you're going to register, because NRC implies that one is 16 years of age. But for voting purposes, it implies that one has to be 18 years and above. So the officers will look at that consideration. Is one 18 years and above? But of course, where they're unable to tell, because there are many factors. We have regions where you get, for example, people shorter stature and all those things. Where there's doubt, they do record and mention. And the screening process would also be able to validate that during the screening process. So be rest assured that the possibility of having any minors on the register is very, very minimal, if not zero at all. We have sufficient mechanisms to be able to undertake and investigate and bring those to book.
Okay, I'll take three before the CEO responds, and I'll start from here.
Okay. Good morning, sir. I'm Matthews from 5FM Red. Yes, I just want to find out what could be wrong, because there were issues of shortage of staff in the first phase. But according to the statistics, what I'm seeing here, they are still the same, even when you beefed up staff members. What do you think is still wrong on this one?
I'll take another two.
My name is Sanide from United Voice Radio. Our observation is what you're investigating really, because you say that 2 people were arrested. Is it in connection with the picture that was circulating? I just want to understand the arrest of the 2.
Okay. Thank you very much for those questions. I'll allow the CEO to respond.
Thank you. I think Precious came in late. Already, yes. That's what happens when you come late. Yes, with regards to the arrest, I did mention that those that were arrested as a result of attempt to register twice, so multiple registration. Exactly. But in terms of investigations, like I said, for us as a commission, whether false or true, already that picture of that minor, we have established that it's not authentic. But we shouldn't end there and just leave it as it is, because everything that goes out has the ability to undermine the credibility of the electoral process. What information is put out has the ability to undermine the credibility of the electoral process. And we need to ensure that we investigate everything. What is the intent? Who's behind this? Why is it being done? So that we are able to ensure that the integrity of the electoral process is upheld, but also the perceptions of the citizens out there. We need to ensure that the citizens have confidence once the register is finalized and compiled, that this is a register that is credible and that is sound, and everybody that is on the register is those that are supposed to be in the register as prescribed by law. That is Zambian citizen of age of 18 years and above. Nothing less, nothing more. And that is what we need to establish. So we don't leave anything, even when we find that this is not, we need to ensure that we probe. Persons living with disability. This is always a concern on the part of the Commission, and a lot of effort has gone in on the part of the Commission to ensure that there's inclusivity when it comes to persons living with disability. Firstly, as you can see, I have my colleague for sign language interpretation, but of course when it comes to it being available in all stations, this has been a challenge. We did actually reach out to our colleagues, organizations that coordinate to assist us in terms of providing support and forwarding officers that can join the Commission in terms of persons living with disability. Unfortunately, we couldn't get all the numbers. Some fell off due to different reasons and challenges. Some could be physical challenges and others. So the numbers that we were able to bring on board are quite minimal. And we hope that in future, as we are proceeding towards the polls, we can be able to get more persons living with disability. But also currently now, the system itself is configured in such a way that it's able to recognize persons living with disability in the registration process, including, for example, if one doesn't have limbs, arms, my apologies. It will be able to detect and one can be able to register. And the system has been configured for different disabilities, and they'll take that into account. In addition to that, during the registration process, we do prioritize persons living with disability. If they identify themselves, they will be given priority in terms of registration. And for those, I hope that you've all registered and you did have an encounter. You will notice that if somebody comes in, they'll straight away be moved to the front and be registered for that aspect. But more can be done. And this is an area that we continuously work on and are improving on as the Commission. We've even set up a focal point person, but of course we'll be doing more in that regard to train them and capacitate them, but also coordinate better with our colleagues that coordinate persons living with disability. Yes, so the priority registration also has been extended to the elderly. We did speak to this last week during our briefing. So even our elderly, our parents, the moment they come for registration, they'll go straight to the front. So if you have any elderly people that haven't registered and you are keeping them home that no, it's chaotic, there are too many queues, don't go, no, please take them, they will be given priority, they'll go straight to the front and be registered, and in no time they'll be able to leave. Security concern, yes, we have sufficient security, and we continuously beef up. it's unfortunate. Most of these places where we keep this, they have safe rooms, and I'm sure if you read the story, our sophisticated criminals went through the roof. I'm sure maybe the security officers were roaming downstairs without knowing that somebody up in the roof is busy climbing and so on. But ever since that, we have continued to beef up security across the country. And every kit is actually attached to a security officer. And where there is high risk, we even attach additional officers. So you see that certain places we even have more, 3, 4, 5. But in addition to that, there will even be those that will be stationed somewhere as a response unit. So we continue doing that, but of course, it's not perfect. You get these sporadic instances where maybe there's an issue of negligence and so on. Statistics still the same. I'm not sure how you're doing your mathematics, but if you look at the statistics, they are continuously on the upward swing. Maybe you didn't capture the numbers?
No, I did capture it, but they are still...
Let me go back.
On the issue of... we are still in ones. We are not going forward in terms of twos.
Yeah, but you can say that when the number is static. So for you to allude to it, that statistic, there's no improvement. I think that is not correct position. Phase 1, we are at 1.1. Phase 2, we are at 1.598. Phase 3, we are at 1.616. Phase 3 was actually going to be much higher, but for the reason of the logout, which most of you even queried last week when we met. We had a day where we had logout because of the security feature, which in certain instances, because the officers could not register, that was affected. But of course, we are clearly, you can see that the measures that are being put in place are bearing fruit, and we are sure that now, even in the 4th phase, the statistics are going to even be much higher. So we will update, as we have done, come the end of the phase. And in this 4th phase, we'll definitely update you much earlier, because it will be the last phase as it were.
So those questions have been answered. I will request for another 3. If you are sitting at the back, please just come closer so that we can hear you. I'll come to Dam on TV because you've asked twice, so I'll give it an opportunity to those that haven't asked, then I'll come to you. So you can start, and then is there 2, 3, 4? Then I'll come to Darius.
So I start?
Yes.
Yes, you mentioned that all field officers will be paid committed time. I want to find out how much that is. Let's deal with money information.
Okay, thank you. I will get another one.
Okay. Last time you responded to the challenge that was given to you by some concerned citizens regarding the distribution of kits for voter registration. That the distribution was done according to the population in areas where it is being done. But they came back to claim that that could not be possible because we do not know the exact number of people living in those particular areas. In some areas, people have migrated going to other areas in search of food, others in search of economic activity. So the question coming back to is, what criteria do you use to determine where to send it, what and how many it should be done?
Okay.
My name is Adrian Nurenda from ECZ Radio. I hope you haven't heard of this, but I want to find out how far you've gone with the voter registration process for prisoners, because I understand that you're doing it in the last phase of the exercise. So I just want to be updated on what's going on so far.
Okay. I'll take a question.
Commissioner, I just wanted to know the number of field officers, like the ones who engaged, the ones who were initially engaged, and then the number we supplemented after you needed additional staff. So I just need those.
And then I'll take Diamond.
For me, I just wanted to find out if the Electoral Commission of Zambia has badged journalists to go around these centers and do their own independent observation regarding the process circumstances that can be allowed for journalists to conduct their own independent observations. And lastly, I want clarity on, we know that this process will conclude on the 12th of December, and you mentioned that the kits will be disconnected. I hope I've used the right words. Is it going to be in the morning or midnight? You can just give us that clarity.
Okay.
I think I'll allow the CEO to respond.
Thank you. I'll start with the last questions. No journalist has been barred. I think you all have been in electoral processes long enough and you understand the process when one wants to be observing and indeed capturing. It's very simple. You just present your credentials and you're accredited. Are you accredited? It's that simple. It's very straightforward. Accreditation is very important for electoral processes because you get all sorts of people. Somebody can go in there and pretend I'm a journalist, but meanwhile they're doing other aspects. So you need to protect the integrity of the electoral process. And that is standard. It's always been there. So it's not just this time around. So whoever wants to undertake their own independent observation, monitoring, please just forward your details that you want to be accredited, the names of your journalists, their ID numbers, and you will be issued with an accreditation card, and it doesn't take long. And you can do what you need to do, but of course, in an accountable manner. Will we switch off at 12 midnight? No. During the last day, usually what happens is that you need to consider first and foremost who is there. We've always reiterated that if there are people that are still being registered at that particular point in time. So this time around, we've set the cutoff time in such a way that it's able to take that into consideration. And it will be done remotely from here. So once we know that the center has been cleared, that kit will automatically go off. But it will take into account those that are there at the center. So if you have 500 people at the center, if they're not being able to be captured within the close time, which is of course midnight, then they will be issued with numbers. I hope you're getting me clearly. They will be issued with numbers, so if they're 500, 1 up to 500. And those numbers will have to be signed off so that no one goes and creates 510 or 503. Such that until all those 500 are cleared that were there at the time of registration, that's when that center will close. So nobody will be turned away saying, yeah, no, it's midnight, we have closed 12th December, please go away. No, that will not happen. If somebody's at the center at that particular point in time, they will be registered for the period that is required. If it's going to take an additional 1 day, 2 days, 3 days to clear everybody that would have been tagged by an ID in form of the number, that will be the period that center will be operational. Number of field officers. We had an initial 25709, which rose to about 2,600. That was the initial, and we continue beefing up. In the last briefing, we did allude that we are getting an additional 1,100. This is just the field officers, the ones doing the registration. But they're much more. They're in the close to 20,000. But just those that are doing that, you are now standing about 3,600. So when it comes to kit distribution, there are a number of parameters that we consider, starting with the number of polling districts that a particular area has. But in addition to that, we also look at population density in that particular area, but also geographical features. So it's not a straight line issue. So you have to take into account all those parameters. And of course, our statistics are drawn from the Zambia Statistical Agency, who guide on that parameter. So it's not as straight line as one would think. we have to take into account those factors. There are some that might have what one may seem a relatively small population, but because of the geographical features, where one settlement is here, but they are cut off by a river, and another settlement is across the river. Obviously, normally that population will not be able to cross. So we take into account a number of those factors. So I hope that answers that question. Prison voting, I'll ask the other colleagues that were here whether I should repeat or not.
Please repeat.
Yeah? Okay, please come on time. Let me go back to what I had earlier indicated so that I don't contradict myself. So the prison voting registration, like we had earlier indicated, will be conducted in the last phase, which is the fourth phase where we're in currently. So registration exercise will be conducted next week, starting from the 9th to the 11th of December 2020. So 9th to the 11th of December 2020. So this is when we are going to conduct voter registration for persons in lawful custody. And then we did indicate that the purpose of registration, inmates will be registered under the existing polling districts where the correctional facility is located.
We have responded to all the questions. Do we have any more questions or clarifications? Looks like we are very, very clear and very happy.
So thank you so much, colleagues. Very grateful for the partnership, and please do your best to avail yourselves in terms of help assisting us in disseminating information. Apologies to colleagues that sometimes may not be able to reach me. It's not by design. Francina, it's not by design. This period we are in, I get so overwhelmed, and I have a lot of engagements. As I'm speaking, I'm rushing into another one. But do not be shy to reach out to our PR team. They will equally give you the information that you require. And I hope you have all registered as voters. Hands up.
I have a gift for those that have registered.
Yeah.